like to welcome everyone today to Elizabethtown High School for the 28th Annual ExCEL Award Ceremony honoring Mr. Travis Thompson. And it is my honor to introduce to you Mr. Travis Thompson as the 2018-2019 ExCEL Award winner from the Elizabethtown Independent Schools. Mr. Travis Thompson. As you all know, the ExCEL program is made possible today by WHAS and LG&E-KU. And the ExCEL program stands for Excellence in Classroom and Educational Leadership. And the purpose of the program is to recognize, reward, and renew the significance of the public school system and the teaching profession. It is to promote the development and well-being of our students and our community. So thank you, WHAS-TV and LG&E-KU, for this recognition and support. We have a number of guests with us today, and we want to recognize your presence. So as I introduce you, if you would please stand briefly to be recognized, and then you may take your seat. We have several, so I ask you students that we hold your applause until all the introductions are complete. First, our two sponsors we have today, WHAS 11 TV, Miss Lisa Hudson, the news anchor for WHAS. You'll get better at holding your applause. It'll get better. From LG&E-KU, Miss Liz Pratt, the public relations specialist. We also have several special guests who are family and friends and colleagues of Mr. Thompson. We have his wife, Mrs. Catherine Thompson. Excuse me. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Gary Thompson, Travis's parents. We have with us Mr. and Mrs. David Thompson, his uncle and aunt, as well as Travis's sister, Wendy House, and his mentor, Patricia Lirot. We also have representing our Elizabethtown Independent School Board, our board chairman, Mr. Tony Kuklinski, is with us. We have several members of the Elizabethtown Educational Foundation with us today. If you'll please stand to be recognized. Mr. Andy Games. We also have several of our principals and assistant principals with us today. If you'll please stand to be recognized. Thank you all for being here. We may even have some former administrators. Do we have some former administrators with us today? There we go, Miss Cora Wood, Miss Ruth Shiracy. Also, we have several of our central office personnel here with us today to celebrate. And also, we have with us from the city of Elizabethtown, we have our mayor, Mr. Jeff Gregory. Representing our Hardin County government, our Hardin County Judge Executive, Mr. Harry Berry. We have several legislators with us today. Representing Congressman Brett Guthrie, we have Mr. Brian Smith. We also have with us today our state senator, Mr. Dennis Parrott. Representing our state representative, Mr. Jim Duplessis, we have his daughter, Tori Duplessis, here with us. I knew she'd be a hit. Representing several of our local civic groups, we have the president of the Hardin County AM Rotary, Mr. Jerry Stith. Also with us today, representing the Noon Rotary, is Mr. Ben Humphrey. Not sure if Mr. Humphrey could make it today. We also have with us Mr. Kenny Rambo. We'd also like to thank Mr. Trey Crumby, our News Enterprise reporter, for being with us today. And we're also very fortunate to have some of our prior ExCEL winners with us today. So if you would please stand when I call your name. Miss Ruth Cerasi, Miss Andrea Atcher, Mary Bell, Mr. Pat Black, David Grossman, Jessica Turner, Kristen Willett, Carol Brown, Holly Walker, Gary Pierman, Wesley Hatfield, Pam Hitton, Tiffany Davis, Caleb Ernst, Laura Beth Hayes, and Miss Shannon Duff. We appreciate all of our former ExCEL winners being with us today. And also, a special thank you to our 2018-19 ExCEL nominees that included Mr. Kane Alvey from TK Stone, Miss Sharon Billings from Morningside Elementary, Miss Liz Luton from Helmwood Heights Elementary, and Miss Amy Truitt from Panther Academy. We appreciate all that you all have done to go through this process, and that truly reflects your participation in the process, and the leadership that you bring to our district is truly appreciated. You're all champions for sure. I would also like to welcome and thank Miss Anna Bray from HCEC-TV for being here to film this special occasion. Now, a little bit about the ExCEL process. Well, first, let's give all those folks a round of applause. Thank you all for being here. The ExCEL process is comprised of 3 phases. Basically, phase 1 consists of an application review. Phase 2 consists of scheduled and non-scheduled observations in the classroom. And phase 3 consists of an interview. And we have several of the team members that were a part of this selection process with us today. And we'd like to thank those, in particular, Miss Andrea Atcher, who's with us today, as well as Miss Cora Wood. Thank you all for the time and effort that you all have given to this process. I would also like to thank Ms. Motley, Ms. Jones, Ms. Burnham, Ms. Hartledge, and all of the maintenance staff and custodial staff here at Elizabethtown High School for the efforts that you put forth in making this a special day. So again, let's give all of those people a round of applause, and thanks for all you've done. At this time, we'll get started with our program with a special presentation from the EHS Women's Choir singing Runaway, and directed by Miss Andrea Atcher.
For that moment to be right.
Thank you very much for that excellent presentation. And now we'll get on with the recognitions. First up, I would like to introduce Ms. Lisa Hudson, news anchor from WHAS-11 TV.
Hello, how's everybody doing this morning? Oh, got some energy this morning. I need more coffee. You guys are way more awake than I am. Thank you guys so much for having us today. This is my first year and my very first ExCEL Award ceremony. So if I mess this up, please forgive me. I'm figuring it out on the fly, basically. But, of course, Gary Rodemeyer has done this for a very long time with WHAS-11. And we are so proud to have been doing this for 30 years now. And it's just incredible, this ceremony. And I could sit up here and tell you a whole list of reasons why Mr. Thompson was selected for this award, but you guys would probably get bored with all of those, right? So we'll talk about the fun stuff, right? I was just in Mr. Thompson's classroom for a riveting game of, what was it again? Trash get ball, right? It's trash get ball. That was pretty, you guys like trash get ball, right, students? Yeah. Seemed like a pretty good game. I enjoyed it. It was fun watching from the back of the classroom. But that was a really good insight into just the type of teacher that he is. If you don't know what trash ball is, I'll give you a quick synopsis. And that's just from what, there's a trash can in the middle. I don't know all the rules, but you're throwing stuff at the trash can, right? You're trying to get the answers in the trash can, and then you pull the answers out of the trash can, and you keep score through doing that way. It's a serious game. It was very competitive in there, and it was a lot of fun. But it was just one of the things that really brought to life what I was reading about Mr. Thompson and from what a lot of his peers have said about him. And so I'll just tell you a little bit about what they have said just about him as a teacher, which I think goes beyond. This is from Mr. Steve Smallwood, the Assistant Superintendent for Student Support and Services. You guys like him too. There you go. He had some just amazing things to say about Mr. Thompson, but he said that he has a very rare gift and that he has the ability to make learning about the past an exciting and engaging activity for all of his students. Very true. Definitely saw that today. And another thing that he said that I thought was so interesting, he said he does a remarkable job of building positive and lasting relationships with his students. He's very encouraging of the work of his students and does a great job of meeting the individual academic and emotional needs of every student that he works with. Students leave his classroom feeling confident about what they have learned and accomplished in his classroom, and he may be the best I have ever seen in making connections with students and is a big reason why my own son is pursuing a degree in education. You can't get a much higher compliment than that. That's pretty amazing, pretty incredible. And from Mr. Tim Hinkle, of course. Everybody know Mr. Hinkle? Mr. Hinkle had some really funny things. I loved reading this. He said, on opening day, faculty members are individually introduced to the student body in the gym, and after Mr. Thompson's name was called, students stood up, applauded loudly, enthusiastically, called out his name, and tried their best to get his attention. It was very clear they had a special bond with Mr. Thompson. A few days later, I had my students fill out a questionnaire telling me about themselves, and one of the questions asked was, who is your favorite teacher and why? 70% of the students answered Mr. Thompson. That's a pretty good percentage, right? 70%. This is another fact that I found really impressive. I know whenever I was in high school, I took a few AP courses, and they were really hard. They weren't exactly classes that you signed up for and were ready to jump into. But according to Mr. Hinkle, he said, although I'm convinced his affection for highly caffeinated ski sodas may have something to do with his boundless energy, this year nearly half of the sophomore class signed up for AP World History just so they could have Mr. Thompson as their teacher. So sophomores in here, is that true? Yeah? He also says along with being very personable and relating to his students, Mr. Thompson challenges his students to excel in whatever they do. And they more often than not meet the challenge. His AP World History students have the highest percentage pass rate of any AP Social Studies course offered at the high school. A couple of his AP students from last year made the comment that Mr. Thompson prepares his students to pass the AP exam without it even seeming hard. They added he explains world history in a way that students can't help but learn the material, and he relates what he teaches to real-world events. And on top of this, he can take mundane activities such as making a timeline or learning vocabulary and have students totally engaged by having a human experience when it matches the term being read. It's pretty incredible. Another thing that he said I thought was hilarious. This last incident reminds me of a phrase he often tells his students, "Make it rain." I asked him recently the meaning behind these words, and he said it means to do your absolute best. In that case, there must be a raging flood going on in his room nearly every single day. And that was from Mr. Hinkle, so pretty cool. So we are thrilled to be here to honor Mr. Thompson, and it is clear that he is beloved here at Elizabethtown High School. So thank you guys so much for having us here, and I will present the golden apple to Mr. Thompson. It's heavy though. You got your arms ready? Okay.
I'll set this up.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Keep it on tape. All right.
It's heavy. You don't want to just carry it around a lot. Mr. Thompson said he was going to start using it as barbells in the classroom. So you guys hold him to that. Make sure he's exercising. It's good. All right. Now I want to introduce Miss Liz Pratt. She's the Public Relations Specialist for LG&E-KU, and she's going to present a very special award to Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, as Lisa said, I'm excited to be here this morning on behalf of all the employees at KU and LG&E, and to have this opportunity to recognize Mr. Thompson. He is an example of a famous saying that a good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. As Lisa mentioned, in his ExCEL Award nominations, it was described that he has a rare gift. That statement says so much about Mr. Thompson, that he has an ability to motivate and inspire students and a passion for helping students reach their potential. So, as a love of history as well, I am also here representing a company that's been here in our community for more than 100 years. So we also appreciate your love of history. And while you're passing on this passion for history to your students, you're also inspiring our community's future leaders, who are all the students who are sitting here today. So in closing, Mr. Thompson, we appreciate and we celebrate the positive impacts you're making within our community and for your students. And so, as Lisa mentioned, I also have the pleasure of presenting to you today, if you don't mind coming forward. So, hers was heavy, mine's really big. A check for $1,000 to be used here in your classroom. And now it is my honor to introduce Mayor Gregory.
I don't know how I got put in the line where you have to get behind the check presentation, because I don't have any money to give you, Mr. Thompson, but I do want to say a few things real quick. It's an honor to be here. especially in my high school, Elizabethtown High School, where I'm a 1993 alumni, and 3 generations of Gregory's have been in this school district, so I know how special it is. And we're fortunate to have had wonderful teachers and wonderful administrators, and there's a very distinguished group sitting out there that you have joined, so that should be quite an honor to you, because this is a very important place for many reasons, not just because of the families that have gone through here, but also from a city perspective. When people are coming here and they want to move to this area, which is something that we want them to do, when we want to relocate businesses or start new companies, it's very important that we have strong school districts. And we're lucky here to have one of the best right here in the city of Elizabethtown, and you are a very wonderful contributing member to that, and you've embraced this school district and this school and set yourself apart and joined that distinguished group. So on behalf of city government and the city council, I want to congratulate you, and I have a plaque for you as well. And now, just so we're clear, it's not a get out of jail free card. It says, "Know ye that Travis Thompson is proclaimed an outstanding citizen of the city of Elizabethtown on this 16th day of January 2019. So from city government, city council, and the mayor's office, congratulations and thank you for everything you've done. And at this time, I want to introduce my friend, Hardin County Judge Executive Harry Berry.
Well, good morning. It's certainly a pleasure to be here on this wonderful day of recognition for Mr. Thompson, and not just him, but all the educators in our community and the wonderful job they do for all of us. I have a proclamation I'd like to read today to commemorate this day, if you'll bear with me. It reads, as whereas America depends upon successful school instructional programs to meet the educational needs of every child, with America's teachers carrying out a major responsibility in preparing our young people to assume their roles as effective citizens. And whereas teachers are challenged daily to reach out to every student, regardless of ability, interest in learning, social or economic background, handicap, race, religion, creed, or ethnic origin, to provide the assistance and guidance necessary for full intellectual development. And whereas teachers contribute to the economic growth of our nation by providing students with the skills to make them a viable part of the workforce, and where our teachers are molding the lives and shaping the future of our next generation, representing an investment in the life of this community. And whereas WHAS has recognized Travis Thompson of Elizabethtown High School as the Elizabethtown Independent Schools 2018-2019 ExCEL Award winner. Now therefore be it resolved that I do hereby proclaim Wednesday, January 16th, 2019 as Travis Thompson Day in Hardin County, Kentucky. It's a time of public recognition for his contributions toward the development of this community and his influence upon the lives of so many of us. Set the 16th day of January in the year of our Lord 2019 with the official seal of the County of Hardin. Mr. Thompson, if you join me. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Brian Smith, the Economic Development Director for Congressman Brett Guthrie.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. Go Panthers! That was better. My privilege to read a letter. Congressman Guthrie could not be here today. They've got votes in Washington, so he sent a letter here for Mr. Thompson. Congratulations on receiving the Hardin County 2018-2019 WHAS 11 LG&E KU ExCEL Award. This award is a testament to your strong work ethic, and I would like to thank you for your efforts. This award highlights the tremendous impact you have on your students and the community. Please know I appreciate all of your hard work, both inside and outside of the classroom. Again, congratulations, and I wish you the best in all your future endeavors. Sincerely, Brett Guthrie, Member of Congress. And it's my privilege to introduce our state senator, Dennis Parrott.
Thank you, Brian. Travis, They couldn't have picked a better one. Thomas family's here on the front row, and I've known them for a long time, and couldn't come from a better family. You come from good stock. Gary and Donna and the entire family, I know you're proud, and you've always been proud. Travis, go ahead and come on up. I want to present you something. You've heard of what a Kentucky Colonel is, correct?
Yes.
This is the highest honor that can be bestowed on citizens of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This is from Governor Matt Bevin. To all whom these presents shall come, greetings. Know ye that Honorable Travis Thompson is commissioned a Kentucky Colonel. I hereby confer this honor with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Done this day by Matthew Bevin, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Congratulations, Travis. Well done. At this time, I'd like to introduce Tori Duplessis, who is subbing for her father, Jim, today. I think he's at, thank you.
My dad couldn't be here today, so he asked me to stand in for him and read the following. I want to apologize for missing this morning's ceremony to honor Mr. Thompson. Unfortunately, I got called out of town unexpectedly yesterday. I want to congratulate Mr. Thompson on winning the ExCEL Award. This award shows his dedication to his students and his profession. It also shows how much he is respected by his peers. He knows how to make learning fun, which in turn causes his students to remember the lesson. Elizabethtown is blessed to have so many wonderful teachers, and Mr. Thompson is a shining example of a high-quality educator. I would like him and everyone at the school to know that his accomplishments have not only been recognized here today, but that they will also be recognized by the Kentucky House of Representatives. This accomplishment is now part of the permanent Kentucky state record, and I have a citation from the House of Representatives to commemorate this day that I will present to you when I get back in town. Again, congratulations, and thank you for continuing the tradition of excellence at Elizabethtown Independent Schools. Sincerely, State Representative Jim Duplessis. So I don't have it with me.
And next from the from the Rotary Club will be Mr. Stith.
Now, I never attended Elizabethtown High School, but I got shellacked by it every time we ever played you whenever I was in high school. So I come here with inferiority complex for sure. I'm proud to represent the Hardin County AM Rotary, the Elizabethtown Noon Rotary, and the Elizabethtown Lions Club in presenting Mr. Travis Thompson with this plaque, and it reads, 2019 WHAS-TV ExCEL Award recipient, sponsored by LGNE-KU. You've exhibited exemplary educational leadership ability and who brought honor to his colleagues, profession, community, and himself. Please present. And now if Mr. Kenny Rambo with the Hardin County Chamber of Commerce, please come and make his presentation.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the Hardin County Chamber of Commerce and to represent our Chamber Board of Directors as well as our 700 plus businesses and organizations strong that congratulate you, Mr. Thompson, on this recognition and this award today. It's a great honor to be here because our business community relies very heavily on the work that happens within these schools in our community on a daily basis, because ultimately we need the students that you're preparing to be able parts of our workforce. And interestingly, there are predictions right now that say some 65% of the students in our high schools today will work in jobs that don't even exist today. because of the emergence of new technology, the advancement in healthcare, robotics, et cetera, et cetera. And we will need a workforce that is ready to come to our community with an appetite for learning, and that comes from exposure to great teachers. So for preparing them for that attitude and motivation to learn as part of their career life later, we thank you and commend the work that you do as an educator here in our community. And with that, we would like to welcome you in recognition of your ExCEL Award receipt as an honorary lifetime member of the Hardin County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the membership. And now it's my privilege to invite to the podium Mr. Tony Kuklinski, the chairman of the Elizabethtown Board of Education.
Good morning, E-Town. You know, today is a pretty special day for me. This being starting my 15th year on the Board of Education, your Board of Education, I've had the great opportunity to stand here on several occasions as the chairman. And representing the Board of Education and the accomplishments of some exceptionally gifted and talented teachers. But sometimes in life, things come full circle. And for me, this is one of those times. See, in 1980, I know that's long time ago for some of you folks. That's ancient history. You might even learn about that in your history book someday. My dad was stationed at Fort Knox, and I spent my junior and senior year attending Fort Knox High School. I was an average student, and like many, if not all kids then and today, I had my successes and I had my struggles. My life after high school was fast-paced, and I never really had much time to look back and reflect on my high school experiences and the impact that those experiences may or may not have had in my life. Now that I'm older, not much older, now that I've had a few life experiences under my belt, and life for the most part is slowing down, I get to reflect back and see how people and experiences influence my life. Recognizing Travis today has given me the opportunity to reflect. You see, the beginning of my senior year, I took business classes that were taught by a Miss Donna Thompson. She gave me tools which at the time, all I wanted to do was retain them long enough to pass the test, get a passing grade, and graduate. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Yeah. Unbeknown to me at the time, the tools she gave me then were the foundation of my entrepreneurial spirit, my attention to detail in finance and business management, which I use today. And I bestow that upon my own children. There was also an assistant principal, and he went by the name of Coach Thompson. Now, Coach Thompson, he did not coach me in the capacity of the sports that he coached, but he sure did coach me on a few occasions as the assistant principal. And I'll leave it there. On the few occasions that I was asked to come see Coach Thompson in his office and to be recognized for the things I may or may not have done, the coach would let me know where things stood. He was very direct. But what the coach did was he listened. He listened to me and not talk at me. And that's a tool that has served me very, very well in my 37-year law enforcement career and as a coach for the E-Town High School track and cross-country teams in the past. To listen to my athletes, to listen to people I'm working with and having to attend to their issues in law enforcement. Listening was very key. In the spring of 1982, we'll say April, give or take, Miss Thompson took some leave. She had a little baby boy. She stopped by the high school before you graduated to show off this little bundle of joy. Now, after I graduated in 1982, I enlisted in the Army, stationed in Korea, re-enlisted in the Army to come back to Fort Knox, to the community that I got to grow up in a little bit, to serve my community as a military policeman. So when I came back in 1988 as a military policeman, I had the opportunity to do what I do, which was enforce and secure and protect the citizens by going to football games and basketball games and being a present there to make sure everybody has a good time and enjoys the activities. Well, during the football games, there was this almost 6-year-old little boy running along the sidelines with Coach Thompson. So Travis, I never got to change your diaper, but I sure got to see you in them. So we've come full circle. We come full circle as a student of the coach and Mrs. Thompson, to now the chairman of the Board of Education for Elizabethtown Independent Schools, to recognize Travis Thompson. So Travis, at this time, it's my great pleasure to, on behalf of the Elizabethtown Board of Education, that I have the opportunity to present to you this small token of our appreciation for your recognized success in the classroom and for carrying on your family's tradition and making differences in students' lives. Got one more thing for you. So I presented Travis with the plaque, and I'm also going to present him with a clock, which for this particular thing, I'd like to say is a symbol to remind you of the time that you spend in your classroom and the influence that you have on your students. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Tim Hinkle, teacher here at EHS. Ooh.
Wow, this is quite a crowd we got here. Yeah. Mr. Thompson must be a heck of a teacher, I tell you right here. Travis Thompson Day. I'm putting it on my calendar. Travis Thompson Day. Just recently, though, I found out that Coach Yates was supposed to give the speech. What's that about, Travis? Okay. And just recently, he texted me and told me that he needed to stay home today with two sick children. He texted me on my new smartphone. Oh. Which has now replaced my legendary flip phone. Coach Yates informed me that I would need to give a speech in Mr. Thompson's honor. He said in his text, it's only a 2-minute speech. How hard is that? Well, with that being said, I will now give my 2-minute speech. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Wait a second. That's the wrong 2-minute speech. Let me change that. However, with the help of Lincoln, I will now read the correct speech. Approximately 4 years and 7 months ago, our former principal, Steve Smallwood, brought forth a new teacher, Mr. Thompson, conceived in Radcliffe, I think, and dedicated to the proposition that all students can learn. Now, we are engaged in a great battle, testing whether that philosophy or any philosophy so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of these ideas. We have come to dedicate this day to Mr. Thompson. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this man. His former and current students have consecrated him far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what I say here. Isn't that the truth? But it can never forget what Mr. Thompson did here. It is for us, the teachers and students of E-Town High School, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which Mr. Thompson has thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from his example we take increased devotion to that cause for which former E-Town ExCEL winners, such as Mr. Pierman and others, gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that Mr. Thompson's efforts shall not have been in vain. That this school district, under God and the leadership of Mr. Thompson, shall have a new birth of learning. And that education of the students, by the students, for the students, shall not perish from the earth. Make it rain, Mr. Thompson.
Whoa, I'm too short for this. Can I move that down? Wow, that's kind of hard to follow. A local legend, and I'm followed up by a rising star. So I'm going to try. I'm too short for this. I am Amy Inman. I'm a Panthers supporter. I'm an E-Town alum from the class of '94. But most importantly, I'm a parent of 4 E-Town Panthers. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. Mr. Thompson is that type of teacher. I've had the opportunity to see Mr. Thompson in action in his classroom as well as with his Y kids. The first time I went to KYA as a chaperone, I was immediately impressed with how he empowered every student to think for themselves. The respect they had for him was obvious, and the connection the students had with him was evident. These students were not just learning about government, they were learning so much more. It is no wonder that E-Town has been awarded a delegation of excellence year after year under his leadership. Being a good teacher is more than having knowledge about a subject matter. Mostly, it means encouraging, loving, and believing in the kids you are teaching. It means seeing each student as an individual and understanding that life lessons are much more than the knowledge in a book. E-Town has always had very, very high expectations for its students and the teachers that teach them. So, from the parents of your students, thank you, Mr. Thompson, for being an exceptional teacher.
Good morning, everyone. For those who may or may not know me, my name is Aisha Nasser, and I'm a senior here at E-Town. I've come to brag on someone who always brags on us. I'd like to talk about someone who has influenced me greatly, my teacher and mentor, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson constantly sacrifices his time and energy for others. He never tries to gain anything for himself. His goals are to further student growth and represent this district with pride. He is committed to this school, and he's committed to his students. He balances teaching with being our Y Club sponsor, which is no easy feat. He combines humor with world history to make learning more enjoyable. From weekly quotes to this day in history, Mr. Thompson's classroom is refreshingly unique. For a lot of us here, Mr. Thompson's AP World class was our first AP course. As a former student, some of my favorite memories were in his classroom. I still remember on the first day of school, I walked into a PowerPoint all about him. And my first thought was, what kind of teacher makes a presentation all about himself? He said there was going to be a test, and I thought he was serious. He adores fishing. The 2 fish in his classroom are real. He is a music connoisseur and a movie buff, often pulling lessons from pop culture to make history more relatable to his students. If you walk into his class, 8 times out of 10, Eye of the Tiger is playing. You'll see a list of iconic movie quotes hanging on his wall, coupled with student artwork and examples. You'll see all of our Y Club awards proudly displayed around his room. I first met Mr. Thompson as a freshman interested in joining our school's Y Club. And my first impression was that he was a dynamic sponsor filled with endless amounts of energy. He commands discipline and excellence through example. His hard work and dedication translates into our work because we wish to make him proud. I know I can talk to Mr. Thompson about anything in trust and confidence. He is compassionate towards his students, and he listens to all of our concerns with patience and understanding. You will meet very few people in your life that will leave behind a path for you to follow, and Mr. Thompson is one of them. He has genuinely laid the foundations of who I am and what I aspire to be. So as I kind of soak up the last few months of senior year, it's hard for me to believe there won't be any more this day in history. I can't go in the back room with my tea grading papers. I can't go and make copies, making sure to throw away the originals. There won't be any more last-minute meetings deciding on projects and plans for Y Club or early morning Saturday Kuna workdays. There's no one to yell peace in your hood as we walk out of classroom doors. No one to present my speeches to. No more seppuku demos or Gwen Stefani Black Plague remixes. But there will always be time to make it rain on sunny days. Mr. Thompson has shown me that there are endless possibilities towards success. Great teachers simply don't teach. They enlighten and mold your character. So as I bring this speech to a close, I would like to mark this day in history, January 16th, 2019, as the day we honor someone who's impacted so many. Now may I please introduce Elizabethtown High School's principal, Ms. Jennifer Burnham.
Good morning, Panthers. As we've heard today, Mr. Travis Thompson embodies many traits. Throughout the years, whether you're an adult in this room or one of the students who has the pleasure of having Mr. Thompson now or who will have him soon, each of us has a special teacher forever engraved upon our hearts, and for many of you and for us, Mr. Thompson is that teacher. He is a born teacher, a born leader. It seems as if it comes second nature to him. He builds a connection with his students. If you go in his room, you watch how he interacts with other adults, other students. you see how he gives to the school in a million little ways every day, every week, week after week. And you begin to appreciate just how much of a wonderful person, an excellent teacher, Mr. Thompson is. He finds what students need and he delivers that so that he can help them on their way to being better with character and with their direction and in succeeding in his classrooms. He has a giving nature. He has a passion for his subject matter, for social studies, but he also has a caring nature. And you can see it every day with the many connections that he makes. And those are just one things that set him apart. He's often the first to take on extra projects, coaching teams, mentoring clubs, and taking motivated students like yourselves to an even higher level of achievement. It is our pleasure to introduce Mr. Travis Thompson to you as this year's ExCEL Award winner.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I guess I have to give a speech. I've got an awesome job, in part because I get to teach kids about history. And history to me is amazing. History is the story of us, and the story of us deserves to be told. The other reason I have a great job is because I get to teach at Elizabethtown High School. The students here excel on a regular basis. Students, you are so talented and passionate about learning that you drive me to get better. You all embody their tradition of excellence. Day in and day out, you make it rain. So students, I'd like to thank you first and foremost because in another setting, I don't think that I win this award. When I think about the talented teachers that are in my department, in this school, and in this district, I can't believe I was even nominated. So to win this award is the best honor that I've ever received. So thank you once again. I'd like to extend a thank you to LG&E, KU, and WHS 11, whom I watch every morning, by the way, and sometimes late at 11 o'clock. That's when you're on. That's me. That's when you're on, yeah. This award generates, thank you for sponsoring this award because it generates a lot of great publicity for public schools in our area. It highlights and promotes the field of teaching. And in my opinion, teaching is the noblest profession an individual can pursue. Thank you to the administration at EHS and central office, Ms. Burnham, Ms. Henry, Mr. Olive, Ms. Motley, Ms. Kim Jones, and Mr. John Ballard. Not only did you support me through the application process, but you have helped to make this a special day for me and our school. Thank you to the staff at EHS. All of you have welcomed me with open arms since my first day on the job, and most importantly, you've helped to make EHS a great place to work. I'd like to give a shout out to the Y Club once again. Thank you. Thank you to Aisha for those remarkable words. And in advising you guys, I've learned a lot about our government and our global community through taking you guys to KYA and Kuna. Thank you to the parents and the staff who have helped chaperone at KYA. It's truly not an easy feat to take last year we took 90 kids to Louisville on a 2-day conference, and it wouldn't have been possible without people like Ms. B.J. Henry, Mr. John P. Parsons, Miss April Jackson, Miss Amy Inman, and Aisha's mom, Sima. There are a couple people that I'd like to give a special thank you to, whom, if it wasn't for them, I don't think that I would be teaching. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to teach at Elizabethtown High School. And the first one that comes to mind is Miss Cora Wood. Would you please stand up, Miss Wood? Thank you. Thank you very much. I was a young, aspiring teacher in my methods at the University of Louisville, and I was at a career fair. And I bumped into Cora Wood, and she said, "Travis, where are you student teaching?" And I said, "Well, Miss Wood, I don't know. I haven't had any luck getting placed." And she said, "I'll place you." And I said, "Well, that would be great." The next day, mid-morning, I get an email saying that I had been placed with Jennifer Fulford at Elizabethtown High School. That I had a terrific student teaching experience. She was a wonderful teacher. And I remember coming home about the second day, and I said to my wife, I said, "If I could teach at E-Town, that's where I want to go." And she said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, because that's where I want my kids to go to school. And that's how much this place means to me." So thank you. Mr. Steve Smallwood, you hired me. You took a chance on me. And because of you, I get to teach in this great place. And my kids get to go to school at a great place like Morningside Elementary. And for that, I'll always be eternally grateful. Thank you. Thank you to my coworkers in the Department of Excellence. The following: Ms. Joella Naw, Mr. Chase Greenwell, Mr. Joe Nebby, Mr. Abe Lincoln, Mr. Tim Hinkle, and Mr. Corey Yates. I've learned a lot. They're up there. I've learned a lot about life, sports, and school from talking to you guys. And when we get together and we share lesson plan ideas, we truly do have a great professional learning community. You guys are brilliant, and your ideas have helped me to become a more effective teacher. So thank you. Mr. Hinkle, thank you for those kind words about me. Since day one, you have been the rock of the Department of Excellence. Anytime I have a question about a topic, you drop what you're doing to help me, and you give me great advice. Did you guys know that Tim Hinkle is a walking encyclopedia? It's nice, it sure is nice to know if Alexa does not know the answer, Tim Hinkle probably does. All of us in this room can think of a teacher who made a positive impact on their lives, and the same is true of me. And at this time, I would like to recognize some of my favorite all-time teachers, and they are. Some of them are not present here today, but one of them is, and I'll especially recognize you. Mr. Lonnie Dennis, 7th grade science, James T. Alton. Miss Patty Lyritt, 12th grade business, North Hardin High School. Dr. Sheffield, Social Studies Methods, University of Louisville. And the late, great Bobby Himes, U.S. History, Campbellsville University. Please let his daughter know. Thank you. He meant a lot to me. Each of these teachers made a lasting impact on me, and they inspired me to learn. They taught me how to study, they taught me how to listen, and they taught me how to finish a project. But most importantly, by their examples, they taught me how to teach. Ms. Lyritt, thank you for coming today. And I think you might be the only person on the planet that taught not only me, but Wendy Thompson and Rebecca Thompson as well. So God bless you for that. And you got me interested in business, and you're a big part of the reason why I have an IRA account today. I still remember the stock market game from senior year, and you're a big part of the reason why these 3 kids right here have college savings accounts, so thank you for that. And at this time, I'd like to thank some special members of my family that are present here today. First and foremost, to my beautiful wife, Kathleen. As you can see, I outkicked my coverage. And I love you, and I'm lucky to have you. You have always been my biggest supporter. When I considered going back to school to become a teacher, you encouraged me to pursue my dream. And it was your career that helped to make that dream possible. You're a wonderful woman, an amazing wife, most importantly, a great mom. You gave me 3 of the best gifts that a guy could ever ask for. Anna Lee, hold her up here. William, stand up, William. And Mary Beth. William and Mary Beth go to Morningside. They're in the 1st and 3rd grade. And lastly, I'd like to thank my parents. I couldn't have handpicked not lastly. I need to send a shout out to my sister right here, Miss Wendy Thompson House. Wendy, would you please stand up? Sorry about that. Wendy kind of took a similar path that I took. She started working in the private sector, and she decided to go back to school and to follow in the family tradition of teaching. I think both of us were like, we're not going to do it. We're going to do something else. But that didn't happen. And so you paved the way for me. And you're also a big part of the reason why I got into teaching, and you're a great older sister and a great additional mom. So thank you. I couldn't have handpicked 2 finer people to be my mom and dad. Mom, you have done so much for me and my students during my teaching career. You have edited tests, proofread letters of recommendation, dropped off forgotten DVDs, flash drives, and even a pair of dress shoes. And Miss Simon can attest to that. And on many occasions, you cooked food for our staff lunches. By the way, they wanted me to tell you, you're an excellent cook. I love you so much, and I really appreciate the fact that you're right down the road. And there have been many days that I didn't have to take off work because my mom stepped up to the plate and watched a sick kid. So I'm always going to be grateful for that. And thank you so much for all you've done for me. You're a great mom. As Mr. Kuklinski said, both of my parents were tremendous educators. And they certainly did pave the way for me and motivated me to do well. Dad, you taught me so much over the years. Important stuff, like how to set out a spread of decoys. And so have you, Al. How to track a deer, how to blow a duck call, and probably my personal favorite, how to catch smallmouth. But most importantly, you taught me how to be a dad, a good man, and how to work hard. Whether it was in the school building or on the farm, your work ethic was unparalleled. You never did anything halfway. You're my father, my mentor, and my best friend. Thank you, guys. Students, peace in your hood. make it rain.
Well done, Mr. Thompson. Well done. Before we conclude, I'd be remiss if I didn't just give a shout out and a thank you to our student body for the way you all have behaved today. It's, we got a lot of reasons that make our district a special place. People like Mr. Thompson, our ExCEL teachers, and all of our teachers and staff and parents and community. But it's you guys that are that tradition of excellence. So I appreciate the way you all behave today and your behavior each and every day, as a matter of fact. Even those silly freshmen up there were good today. So good job to all of you all. Thank you. So again, Ms. Hudson, Ms. Pratt, thank you all for placing a spotlight on education and the teaching profession. And Mr. Thompson, one more time, thank you. And congratulations. Thank you for your valued contribution that makes our school district, Elizabethtown High School, the teaching profession in general, what it is. It's people like you that make others want to go into the profession, and we need that. So thank you for all that you do for our community. And thank you for being you. On behalf of our sponsors, WHCEC-TV, LG&E-KU, Mr. Thompson and the school district, I want to thank everyone for your participation and attendance today. So I'll close the program. I would like to invite our guest, student, to a reception in Mr. Thompson's honor in the library. And with that, that concludes our ceremony. Thank you very much.